Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. It's time!
Welcome back, guys. Schmoedown Rundown, episode number 9. My name is Aaron. As always, I will be your host for this episode. But I'm not alone. I got a panel with me. Joining me this week, the King of Ding. He is hungry like the wolf, you could say. Whatever sticks, we're going to use it. It's Paul Wolf.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Also joining me, Statman, Schmoeville, Frank Janish. What's up, buddy?
What is up? Good week for the Schmoedown, right, guys?
Absolutely. A great one matchup.
One match.
Yep. First of all, right off the top, if you guys didn't check out our last episode, where we had nearly a 45-minute interview with Christian Harloff, you definitely, absolutely, 100% need to check that out. It's one of our higher-rated episodes, so I really appreciate everybody that has listened. Maybe listen again. That'd be great. And just spread the word. If you got friends or other Schmoevillians that you that are into the Schmoedown, tell them about this interview, man. It's amazing. It's a lot of insightful stuff, and Christian was amazing, as always. So, yeah, it's a great episode. Definitely go back and check it out. So, first of all, first thing we're going to kick off with today was, as we know, there was no singles match on Friday this week. They did a top 10 ranking show with Christian and Ken Knapsack. So I kind of want to get into that. Let's go ahead and go through the team top 10 ranks. At 10, we have the Wangers. Number 9, Superhero News. Number 8, the Wolves of Steel. 7, Team Heroes. 6, Rotten Tomatoes. 5, 6 Degrees. Number 4, Team Trek. At 3, we have ETC. At number 2, we have the Patriots. And at number 1, Team Schmoes. Of course, Team Top 10 is your champions at the moment. Paul, I'm going to start with you. What do you think of these top 10 rankings? Anything you like, anything you don't like?
It's really funny. As soon as I was watching this, I thought of Frank the whole time. I really did. Because, I was wondering, I wonder what he thinks. I wonder if he went by the numbers and saw, wins, losses, broke down by rounds, what the point totals were, because I have a feeling his rankings may be a little different than what we heard really earlier, like just a few hours ago. I honestly look at this list and I kind of see where they're going with some of them being ranked lower because of not a lot of wins. Granted, this is a very young league. I personally would probably have not had ETC up there, Team Etc., I guess I'm calling them. But other than that, I really see the list pretty accurately. And I didn't I hear in the show that 6 Degrees is taking on Team Trek, and I actually cannot wait to hear and see that matchup. But other than that ETC being on number 3, I'm actually kind of in agreement of that list.
Okay, fair enough. Frank, I know you want to say something about it. Go ahead. What do you got?
Oh, yeah. Actually, kind of surprisingly, my rankings kind of sort of mirrored what Christian and the guys over there had come up with. The one little issue I have is with 6 Degrees being above Rotten Tomatoes.
Same.
You know what? You could just flip that, and I would be okay with that, just because I don't like the discrepancy or the disparity between ETC and Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes has beaten ETC, if I do remember correctly, and they did it fairly soundly. So I just didn't like that huge gap between ETC and Rotten Tomatoes for one, and two, the way I've kind of thought about how I approach the rankings, and I think it's different from how Harloff and the other guys approach it. I think Harloff, I wish we would ask him this last week. I wish I would have thought of it, but I think he approaches it as, what have they done so far as like an overall body of work, and that's how they're ranked. I kind of approach it with that mindset and a projection of where they stand up against everybody else. So I think Rotten Tomatoes is better than 6 Degrees, even though 6 Degrees only had one match. But I still think that. So I would still put Rotten Tomatoes above 6 Degrees. Yeah, they had a win, but I think that's just where I think my mindset differs from the guys at Schmoedown.
I'm with you. I don't know if this is like a BCS kind of situation, but I'm with you, man. I have it right here in my notes. I said I would flip Rotten Tomatoes and 6 Degrees, and I would not have ETC that high. I have actually a pretty big gripe with the number 1 spot.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Team Schmoes at number 1 does not make any sense to me whatsoever because, yeah, they're the former tag team champions. Yeah, they lost one match, but they're not the number 1 contenders anymore. So wouldn't Team Patriots de facto be the number 1 team?
Exactly. You're right.
I was kind of confused by that. When Patriots was at 2, I was like, well, you can't have Team Schmoes at 1. That doesn't make any sense. But especially if they're not going to be a team for a while, I don't know about that. I wouldn't put them any lower than 2, obviously, but definitely not number 1.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's kind of weird. All right, let's move on to the singles. We have the Beast, William Bibiani, making his debut at number 10. Bob Finstock at number 9. At number 8, we have Sam Levine. At 7, Christian Harloff. At number 6, Jeff Snyder. Number 5, Clark Wolf. Number 4, Josh Makuga. Number 3, Mark Riley. Number 2, John Roca. And number 1, Mark Ellis. Now, Frank, do you have a problem with this one?
Like I was just saying earlier, I think Harloff ranks it as what they've done so far, not projecting where they stand amongst the other competitors in the league. And I think, and I don't know this to be true yet, I haven't looked at any comments or anything in Schmoeville or on the YouTube page, the Schmoeville Facebook group or the YouTube page. I don't know if a lot of people are going to agree that Bibiani should be 10. Because I'll tell you right now, I actually have Bibiani at number 3.
Whoa, okay. All right.
I know, and I know what Christian's going to say. I know what other people might say. He only has 1 win. Yeah, I understand. Other people have 3-4 wins. That's fine. But he did beat Andrejko, who was just an absolute beast. He missed 1 question. And I actually have Andrejko at 4 because I think because I believe Bibiani and Andrejko are better than 5 through 10. So and that's why I placed them up there because I'm projecting, I guess, where they would sit in the league. Also, I have a big problem with Finstock being in the top 10 at all because he's answering at 41%, which is 19 points below the league average. Just the league average. He's 19 points below the league average. He's only beaten Tiffany Smith and John Schnepp. So and that match against Tiffany Smith was an absolute train wreck of a match to watch, if you can remember that one. And the Schnepp one, I don't know. Schnepp for a while was just like, who is this guy? He had a pretty good, decent match with the team with Robert Meyer Burnett. So I have a big problem with Finstock being at all in the top 10. I know it's only a matter of time before he's knocked out, but I just wish he was never in there to begin with. And then, obviously, if you've been on the Facebook group page, you saw my disparity with Makuga between myself and Harloff. So, but and also as you may have heard last week. So, I have Makuga at 10. He has Makuga at 4. It is what it is. Like I said, I think I'm more projecting as opposed to an overall body of work as a standalone thing.
Is there anyone that you would stick in the top 10 if you took Finstock out? Is there somebody you think is deserving to be in that top 10?
Well, like I said, Andrejko.
Sure.
Because you have Finstock at 9 and Bibiani at 10. Does that, when you look at that, just glance at it, does that make any sense? To me, it doesn't.
No.
If anything, I would just put Bibiani at 9 and don't insult Bibiani by putting him below Finstock. So, and then I could say, okay, fine, put Bibiani at 9 and Andrejko at 10, but, I'm not the man in charge, so it's fine.
Right on. All right, Paul, what did you think of these? What do you think of the single rankings?
I'm staring at a bunch of numbers and percentages and stuff. I thought for school, and I thought I was OCD with documentation and numbers and percents. Well, screw that. Frank's got me.
He's got everything.
Honestly, man, everything he said, I'm going to reflect everything he said. I completely agree that Finstock being up there, I can see what Harloff was saying with lack of experience, only being 1-0. But isn't that undefeated? Isn't that a better record technically than most of them? So I honestly would have Bibiani up there a little higher. I would probably, like I said, Makuga not be as high, but again, I see where he's coming from in a way with, his overall, and he's had more experience and had more matches. In fact, he said the most out of everybody. Did he say 9 so far?
Right.
And so I can see why he's got the experience factor. He's been there before. But again, the way he was during that first match, I mean, he should be higher. And so, but everything else that Frank had said, I completely concur with.
Okay, fair enough. The only, Willem Bibiani, I don't think I could put him higher than 8 right now. I definitely don't think he should be at 10, and definitely not below Finstock. But I don't think I could put him ahead of Sam Levine or Christian at this moment. But I just can't help it when I think of William Bibiani in this tournament. I keep thinking in my head, I hear the chant of Goldberg, Goldberg. And we're going to hear that on Sunday a lot. There's a shameless plug. But the only thing that I honestly have an issue with is it's not really even an issue. I would take Makuga at 4, put him at 6. And then I would bring Jeff Snyder down to 4 because I just think, and that's just me, it's not really even a body of work thing. I just think Jeff Snyder is a better competitor than Josh Makuga, and I just think he's better than Makuga. Yes, Josh Makuga has won against great people, but if Alabama plays 9 games and wins 5 of them, I mean, Alabama's not going to be number 4 in the country, are they? Of course not. So it's kind of like that's the kind of the way that I look at it, and Jeff Snyder lost a really close match to Sam Levine, so he could easily be 3-0 right now. I feel like Jeff Snyder will get the inside track to a championship faster than Josh Makuga. So that's my only gripe about it. I mean, that's really all that I had for that. At the top 3, not a surprise at all, Riley, Roca, and Ellis. If Roca and Riley were not facing each other, I would actually bump Mark Riley back a spot to number 4. And even move Jeff Snyder ahead of him at this point. So that's just
I don't know if I put Snyder ahead of Riley. I don't think I would do that.
Well, I mean, Frank, that's what predictions are for, and that's your opinion. It's your prerogative, as Bobby Brown would say, and it's just how I feel. I feel like Mark Riley at this point, and I'm sorry, Matt Kearns, my good buddy.
Oh my God!
But I feel like Mark Riley at the moment is a bit of an underachiever right now. So
no, I totally agree with that part.
I don't know. I'm just down on him right now, so I can't help it. But let's move out of ranking land and let's go to the team recap. It was the Wolves of Steel at 0-1 versus the Real Rejects at, you guessed it, 0-1. So it was a tough matchup. Very, very close. I really liked the Real Rejects in this match. I thought they were a lot of fun. I saw a lot of people in the comments of the YouTube video saying that they're glad that the Real Rejects aren't bad guys this time, and that really confused me because their match with ETC, I felt like ETC were being giant dicks, and I don't know. I just really like the Real Rejects. I definitely liked them in this matchup. I thought they were a hell of a lot of fun. Let's get to the scoring breakdown. In round 1, Real Rejects grabbed 4 points, Wolves of Steel only 2. And round 2, the Real Rejects grabbed Horror off the wheel for 8 points. And Wolves of Steel rolled Opponent's Choice. Very crucial point in this match, as the Real Rejects allow the Wolves of Steel to more or less pick their category. They go with 90s movies. They get 5 out of 6, 10 points. Though the Real Rejects did steal 2 points. And it looks like that ended up, biting them in the ass as the Wolves of Steel get their first win, defeating the Real Rejects 20-18. Now, I'm just going to kick it over to Paul. What did you think of this matchup overall? Are you on the Real Rejects train? Are you wondering what the hell are you doing? What are your thoughts?
I was totally on their side. They came out, they had a really cool looking little promo at the beginning. It had a little extra flavor of the being on the drugs and trying to get over that first loss. That whole thing was really, really cool, very entertaining. Came right out the box, 4 points in that first round. I was right along with them. I had the same exact 4 points too, playing along with them. And then round 2. And I got off that train completely. First off, my biggest weakness is horror. So that was cool that they did a very, very good job there. They went with it, even though Wolves of Steel, that's their strength. They're from Collider Nightmares. I mean, you would think that would be risky, and so in a way, it kind of was. But they got 8 points. And they couldn't get. I mean, Wolves of Steel could not steal that money question from Psycho. So it actually played in their favor, surprisingly enough. Then it was really, really funny to see that they pulled a Western. Wolves of Steel spun Westerns first, and it was a throwback to that last attempt, and it was like, no. And then they spun it again. And then the Real Rejects, I mean, I'm going to kind of reflect what Roka's attitude was as soon as that happened. What category would you like? Really? I mean, you play to win the game, to quote a famous NFL coach. You play to win the game. They pulled the too nice of a card, I think, in this one. And Roka and GTE freaking out. I was right on board with them. I'm like, why would you do that? I mean, as nice as that was, I mean, yeah, they were playing off the last match that they had. They kind of came off as bad guys. That's kind of even mentioned that they want to appease the fans and make sure that they're good guys or whatever. But to me, that was too nice. And yeah, I really think that was a softball type of a situation. And I mean, they were winning at that time. They could have really destroyed them by giving them Westerns. I would have given them Westerns if it was me. But they went with whatever you want, and then they went with 90s. Just kind of bugged me. And like I said, I'm right there with Roka in that same attitude.
Can't do that. You can't do that. And it's just that simple. You know, the last team that said, well, we want this as entertainment, so it doesn't kind of matter if we win or lose. Yeah, that was the Mega Powers. And how did that work out? They got their ass whipped. So I'm all for entertainment. Let's make all these Schmoedowns entertaining. And the Real Rejects are one of my favorite teams now. I think they are a lot of fun to watch. And I'm with Ken Knapsack, as he said in the top 10 thing, man, you've got to step on the throat and turn the foot. And when they had him down, they should have taken him down. But, they wanted to be gentlemanly. They pull out the chair for Clark, which if they wanted to go full heel, they should have just pulled the chair out from under her.
Oh, man.
Good Lord, so much heat on them right now. But let's take a second. Let's go inside the numbers with Frank Janish. Frank, take us there.
Yeah, so right now, Wolves of Steel just completely underperforming everyone's expectations. As a team, they're answering 62.5%. Real Rejects, after revised number for Wolves of Steel, 59.38% after this match. Real Rejects is at 63.64% in their 2 losses. Real Rejects has, in this match alone, they outperformed Wolves of Steel, answering 12 out of 16, 75%. Wolves of Steel, 9 out of 16, or 56.25%. Wolves of Steel could not capitalize on their one lone steal. Real Rejects was able to do that for a full 2 points, which has made it even worse for Wolves of Steel. What I've been looking at in the team league is the answer rate is a little bit lower by about like 2-3% compared to the singles league, which is kind of interesting. I would like to think that the rate would be a little bit higher, considering round 2 has 6 questions, and you can confer on all of those. I would like to think, even though a lot of people do really well in the second round, I don't actually have those numbers yet. I'm working on them. But the first round, people seem to really stutter in the first round. Either one person is way off and the other person is on, or they're just bad altogether. It's really been odd. But as a whole, this match, I thought no one deserved to win this match. I mean, it was just Wolf had another bad outing in the team. Again, only answering just one question out of 3. Riley regressed down to 1 out of 3 as opposed to the 3 out of 3, I believe he did. And then I don't, guys, what category would you have given Wolves of Steel if you were Real Rejects? Because I thought, like, Real Rejects goes, what category would you like? And they say whatever, and they're like, okay, we're not picking that one, and then pick some other category. What do you guys think?
I personally would have thrown it right back at him and said, you're going to have to get, unless they're going to take Westerns off the board, I would have gone right back and given them Westerns. That's what I would have done. If I could do that, if not, I would give them like movie release dates or some really awful category.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Paul would give. I think, Paul, you said Westerns.
Yeah, I would have immediately said, since they spun it that first time, and we know the history of Westerns with them, I would have gone right with Westerns, or I would have done something like Oscar winners or something like that. But yeah, I would have done something like that. But Westerns would have been right away, because we knew that was a weakness. I would have gone with that right away.
I saw that Classics was on the wheel too, so I don't know how Riley or Wolf are in the Classics, but I thought maybe they might throw out the Classics. Usually when anybody ever wins on Classics, they're always like, F this. But Real Rejects said, F this, we're going to be nice. And, geez, they still could have won it too. So because that last question, the Interstellar question, I was really surprised that they didn't get that, because the name Gargantua is, like, they mentioned it right in a very important part of the movie about what they're planning on doing. So, I mean, but, for some it's easy, for some it's hard. So there you go.
Well, I think a lot of people, Interstellar, just as a movie, a lot of people, it's kind of hit or miss. Like, some people really love that movie. Some people really hate it. So I feel like if you don't like it, you kind of just erase certain parts of it from your memory. So I get that. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd seen it recently, so that's why I knew it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have known what the hell they were talking about. But let me pose this question to you guys. Do you think the Wolves of Steel at this point, on the brink of 0-2, are they overrated at this point? Frank, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think we found that they were overrated from the very first match. I mean, I know that Heroes got a break and getting unfloat and all that, second round. For whatever reason, these two, Clark and Riley, I'm going to take it back that they're overrated, but they just came together when they were both hitting this weird funk. And I think it's just coalescing into this huge snowball, and they don't know how to stop it. They got really lucky this match. I don't know. Do we know who they're playing next? I don't think we do know. It'll be really interesting.
Who they're playing next?
Yeah, we don't know that, or do we?
I don't think that's been announced yet.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see who they're going to play next and how they perform. I think that third match will be the defining moment for Wolves of Steel and how they're gonna do. And one other thing I feel like is a positive for teams, like Real Rejects, they work well together because they've worked a lot together, right? You have all these other teams that do well. They work together really well outside of the Schmoedown. I know Riley and Wolf work together on Nightmares, but I don't know how long they've been working together. I don't know if it's been as long as some other teams have. I think maybe that has. I mean, when you look at their first match, they had a hard time figuring out who's going to say what. There was no one really wanted to take the lead. It was always at least to me, it seemed a little unsure who's going to answer what or how are we conferring and whatnot. And I think if they can get past those kind of hurdles, that they can hopefully have a good run in the team league.
Good points. It's kind of like the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Miami Heat, these New York Yankees, even as Ken Knapsack said. You get these teams and you put these free agents or these great players together on this team, and it takes time to gel. It doesn't always work out right away. But Paul, Wolves of Steel, overrated or just unproven so far?
Yeah, I'm going to show you real quick. Nobody can see this, but I'm going to show you real quick what it says on my sheet. You might see it. It says Heat, Big 3. I was saying the exact same thing as you said.
Nailed it.
Yeah, exactly. What happened when those guys got all on one team? You got all these individuals, powerful, strong, talented individuals on one team. What happened their first year? They got to the championship, but did they win? No, they didn't. It took them another year for them to finally figure out what their role is, what their strengths were, if they had to adjust what they have, their strengths, what they have to do. And eventually they got comfortable. You brought up the Cavaliers. That's my team. I'm from that area. I was overjoyed. They got Kevin Love. They got Kyrie Irving, and then LeBron came back. What happened their first year? They didn't win. No. It took them a while to gel, to understand their role, and that's what I kind of see here with the Wolves of Steel. I don't think they're overrated. I really don't. It's their second match together, so. And you've seen them do more individual than team. So I think once they get another team match under their belts, I think you might see more cohesiveness. And I feel that they're going to do a lot better than people are saying, because I know Ken said on that video, on paper, they looked great. Yeah, but I have a feeling once they get to their third match, I have a feeling they're going to be a little bit more in tune. Who goes where, who answers this, and I think there's going to be a little bit more of a change in themselves once their third match comes around. And what I'm looking at, if they do a tournament version of this, I looked here, and if they're ranked 8 according to Christian, they would be they'd be playing the third place team, which is ETC. So. To me, if that's the next match, if that's what I have right here. If you do match them up in a tournament situation, if you seed them, so I wouldn't mind seeing that match to see what's going on. Because again, I think ETC, out of the whole group, like I said, I was the one that had that problem with them being that high. Because again, I'm not as familiar with them. I've only seen them, I think, only one time. So to see them go up against the Wolves of Steel, maybe they'll get the respect they deserve if they beat them. So who knows?
ETC has a match coming up at the Spectacular with an unknown team, so it very well could be the Wolves of Steel. Who knows? Because we have other teams that are booked. I'm sorry, Frank. Yeah.
Do we think that Clark and Riley their strengths are too similar, and maybe that's why there's gaps?
I don't know if it's that. I mean, I think obviously horror would be a strength. I don't know what Clark's knowledge is on comic book movies. I know she's kind of struggled a little bit in that particular category, where I feel as Riley is strong in that category. And as far as like other genre pictures, classics and things, I feel like Clark has the advantage over Mark. So I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know what your opinion is on that, Paul. I mean, I don't think so.
I think you hit it right on the head. I don't think they're too similar, but from what we already know, I mean, obviously horror, they're good. 90s, they're good. Westerns, they're not. So we just know that that those are the only categories that we've seen are pretty much a strength. So I don't think they're that similar in the fact that we only know of 2 categories that they are similar in. So it's still another one of those, wait and see type of things.
Well, something I think we can all agree on is that we want to see Clark Wolf and Mark Riley get back on track. I think we can all agree on that.
Absolutely.
This is a good step in the right direction. And for the record, the Warriors did blow a 3-1 lead. Let's move on, and let's go to the preview for this week. It is the Team Wangers. It is RB3 and Cobster versus the Mega Powers, in quotations, Josh Makuga and Finn Stock. Frank, give me some stats on these teams.
Wow, Mega Powers. Woo!
It's not going to take long, is it?
They got only 3 questions right last time. Just 3 out of 13.
I heard RB3 say that.
And and Wangers, 9 out of 17 against 6 degrees, which, they weathered a pretty tough storm considering the categories they got hit with. So that gives me hope for their future in the league. Mega Powers, the names look great on paper, but the answers just don't come out of their mouths. I mean, 3 questions right. if Wingers doesn't win this, we could be looking at we very well could be looking at a Wolves of Steel Heroes kind of failure in terms of Wingers not winning. I mean, I would put it on that level because I think the discrepancy between these two teams is that big. Because RB3, he is, we've said before, a student of film. He knows a lot more than I think people give him credit for because he's so young. And same thing with Copster. I mean, he's been doing this for a long time, reviewing movies and whatnot. I think they're better suited in trivia format than Finstock, I think, obviously. But Makuga, he could be JTE 2.0 and carry him because he can go on runs. But I would still pick Wingers to pick. Probably down to the last question, I would say, for this match, only because Makuga is going to carry his team to that last question. And then Wingers better pull it out. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, so you're taking the Wanger crew. All right, Paul, what do you got?
Mega Powers, all style, no substance. I concur again with Frank. He said that Makuga's going to carry the team. I really think that's going to happen. 3 points. Could we have a potential for the lowest scoring match? We go from the highest scoring, new records blown away, to lowest scoring match ever. I don't see this being a barn burner. I do almost kind of see it getting to the last question, but I think it's all going to be scratching and crawling to that last question with somebody just pulling a question out of their butt somehow, just like Clark did with the Die Hard question and with the Star-Lord question. I mean, from Real Rejects, those two coming out of nowhere. That's something's going to happen. With Makuga's guessing techniques, I think something's going to happen there where he's going to get one or two as they get going. However, I wish I could disagree, but I see Wangers pulling it out because I see Cobster and I see RB3 together as almost equals, knowing most of the same information, the same type of trivia. I mean, yeah, you said that RB3 is going to school for film, and Cobster obviously is very well versed in that as well. Yes, he's had losses in the singles matches before, but I think, again, both of them seem to have the same type of knowledge that will carry themselves as a team rather than Makuga carrying Finstock through the finish line. So I got Wangers, but close in this one.
Sounds good. Now, yes, Frank.
I just wanted, because Paul had mentioned about one of the lower scoring matches. Mm-hmm. Before the rules change, the Wangers 6 Degrees as a collective, as a match together, they answered just a hair under 53% collectively, and that's been the lowest match we've had so far. So Wingers definitely could be a part of another one because Patriots against Mega Powers collectively 51.61%. They answered just 3, so in a different format. So yeah, I think Paul could be right that this could be a very low scoring affair in terms of questions answered correctly.
Do you think that was because it was their first times together, both of them, 6 Degrees and Wangers, or what do you think that the reason might have been because of that?
I think RB3 and Copster, those guys, that whole Wanger crew, they love each other, so they work really well together. And I don't think them. I mean, if you just really look at it, just answer the question. I think RB3, especially Copster, they've been around this atmosphere for a long time. I'm sure RB3 has been licking his chops and Copster trying to get back in it. 6 Degrees, they've been working with each other for a while too. So I'm sure they have something to do with it, but I don't think it's going to be an overriding factor in the end.
Fair enough.
I was fully prepared to go full-blown Wangers and just make this a complete sweep, but last night on the live stream, Christian Harloff said something that completely changed my mind about this entire match. Makuga, and I don't remember what it was, but Makuga made some kind of weird, it was Far and Away. They were talking about the movie Far and Away with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. And Makuga just ripped a line from Far and Away, and it was spot on perfect. And Christian said something that just stuck in my head. He said Makuga knows movies that he should never know anything about. And that completely flipped my script on this match, because I was like, yeah, he's right. Makuga does know. Yeah, he knows Bad Boys 2 and all that kind of junk. But Makuga sometimes pulls some brilliant stuff. And I want to see the Mega Powers win. I think they are infinitely entertaining. I was down on Makuga when this league first started, but now I'm kind of turning myself around. RB3, great competitor. Cobster, I feel like, has more of a recent knowledge. RB3's got the classic knowledge, so there's a nice component that they have there. If they spin horror, where Cobster is, Cobster says that's his best category, he's a big horror guy, that could turn the tide a little bit. But then again, if the Mega Powers roll 90s movies or sports movies or Michael Bay movies, what have you, I think they could take down the Wangers. I'm taking the Mega Powers. I think they will beat the Wangers. I see it like a 12-10 kind of matchup. I don't think it's going to be very high either. But I like the Mega Powers.
I won't be surprised if Mega Powers wins. I may be surprised how they do it, depending on how Finstock performs, but yeah, I wouldn't be completely surprised, but I'm still leaning Wangers on.
Fair enough. And I need to start keeping track of all of our our guesses and stuff, so we can see who's actually winning that up. Probably need to do my own kind of research there. Put my little Frank cap on. All right, let's move on to the singles preview this week. We have a debut this week. It is Drew McWeeny versus one half of the Schmoedown Tag Team Champions, Matt Nost. Frank, what you got for me?
This is Matt Nost's time to shine, man. If this is, he's coming off a huge team title victory. He wants this bad. If you look at his history in the teams as an individual, going back to the 2015 tournament and even into now, he's answering around 72% on his standalone question. So that gives me a lot of hope for him in the singles. I know he had a bad match, debut match in the singles way back when, but I think Nost could pull it out. I don't know that much about McWeeny, other than the fact that he's a screenwriter, a critic. So I know he sees a lot of movies. Obviously, he's going to be a critic. I think I did remember see Harloff kind of was excited to get him into the singles league. So I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for Matt Nost or for McWeeny, just because we've seen what Nost can do, and we've seen Harloff bring in new people who perform very, very well. So I think this could be an unexpected classic in the making.
Could be. Paul, before I get to you, I want to make one quick point. Frank, you said that Matt Nost has yet to shine, and I swear, or this is his time to shine, and I swear in my notes it says this is Matt Nost's time to shine. So we are on the same page there. Nailed it. Paul,
after all these weeks, we're finally...
I'm telling you. Paul, what do you think of this matchup?
Man, that's funny. It's funny. Looking at both competitors, Drew McWeeny and Matt Nost, and I'm, Drew McWeeny being from Ain't It Cool News and now working at HitFix, he's got the background. He's got like a Snyder type of background, so he's well in the area, so he's going to see it from all sides. And you've got Matt Nost, who again, he's going to come out and try a singles match, and he's 0-1. He needs this victory because I think Christian's kind of waiting in the wings for him after Makuga, if in fact he does beat Makuga. So I'm looking at this as strictly it's McWeeny's debut, and again, it's the lights, it's the wheel of death. You never know what's going to happen. You might have all of that prior knowledge of all of this movie trivia, and you get under the lights, you get the questions, yet you get the bothersome countdown if you have to do your question. You're thinking about it, and as you're trying to think about it, you hear the countdown out loud, and that's going to get distracting. And so you've got people watching you, cameras on you. I think that might put it in Nost's favor because he's been there before. So strictly on that alone, I'm going to say Matt Nost is going to win.
Okay. Oh, wow. One for Matt Nost. All right. Now, here's what I know about these competitors. Matt Nost, obviously a great team competitor, one half of the tag team champions. Drew McWeeny, a member of the Los Angeles Film Critics Association. That sounds prestigious. Basically, that translates to me is he sees a lot of movies over a broad amount of genres. And as hyped as Christian is about this guy, I'm right there with him, man. Like I see Drew McWeeny coming in and being a strong competitor, like an Andreyko, like a Bibiani, kind of getting in there. But I don't know. I feel like we kind of, even in my own head, I'm kind of discounting Nost a little bit. He's got a lot of genre knowledge as well. The Top 10 show, as it's being retooled at the moment, they talk about every genre, all different films from all across genres, different directors. So Matt Nost also has a strong movie knowledge. I feel like McWeeny has the edge because he does it on the daily. So I'm going to take Drew McWeeny, and surprisingly enough, I'm going to take Drew McWeeny, by TKO in this match. So there you have it. Frank, I don't think I heard a prediction for you. Did you have? I didn't hear you said McWeeny or Nost.
You're right. Look, I love Top 10. I love that team, the show. So I'm going to take Nost just because I really want to see him win because, Roca, he has a bigger spotlight right now. I would love if Nost could kind of inch in there a little bit and make his own name. But yeah, I'm going to take Nost.
Okay. And I think we all want Christian to beat Josh McCouga at this point. So A, he doesn't retire, and B, so we can see that showdown between he and Matt Nost. Because if you listened to the podcast last week, you heard Christian give some choice words about Matt Nost and saying that Matt Nost had handpicked Drew McWeeny. And then when I said, "Oh, really? He did?" He said, "No, I picked him." So, so Christian, a little gamesmanship with Matt Nost. I want to see those two square off. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think we all definitely want to see that. What do you think? Who's going to win? Leave it in the comments below the YouTube video. Give us a shout out there. Let us know who you think is going to win these matchups. Wenger's Mega Powers, Nost McWeeny. Who you got, as Harloff would say. All right, guys. That's going to do it for this episode of the Schmoedown Rundown. Before we go, I like to, get everybody sign off. So I'm going to start with the stat man. Frank, where can people find you in your wonderful stats?
That's right. I'm on Twitter at FrankieJ29 and in the Schmoeville Facebook group page, as well as the Movie Trivia Facebook group page. If you had seen about a week or two ago, I posted stats for competitors in round 1, 2, and the final round, the third round. So yeah, you can look out for that kind of stuff, and if you can find me.
There you go. Paul Wolf, where can the good people find you?
As usual, you can find me on Facebook at obviously just Paul Wolf, so give me a friend there, and that's WULFF without an E. But of course, I've heard many different spellings. You can see me on Twitter at the Mr. Wolf and Instagram at the Mr. Wolf 12.
And as always, my name is Aaron. You can catch me on the Twitter at ATTitanium. Before we go completely, I have to say one thing. So we're going to get a little serious business right here real quick. I just want to say to anybody out there that has, if you have somebody in your life that you haven't reached out to in a long time, that you're like a grandmother, a sister, a cousin, a friend, your Uncle Joe, if you've been hesitant to reach out to them, I would urge you to do so. No matter what your conflict, no matter what your strife is going on, you don't know what someone else is going through. So, and you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. So I would encourage you to reach out, talk to those people, because like I said, you never know what's going to happen. And sometimes things don't work out, and that's fine. You can go your separate ways, but definitely make an effort to reach out to someone you haven't talked to in a long time. Give somebody a hug that you just haven't seen in a while. And like the flip side, if you need to reach out to somebody because you're feeling blue or you're feeling you got something going on, you just need to talk to somebody, reach out. Somebody will listen. That's going to do it for this episode. We'll catch you next week. It's the Schmoedown Rundown. See ya.